Welcome along to this episode of the Ultimate Marketing Podcast, where we show you how to grow and scale your business with myself, Vish. We have got the lovely Danita Patney.
Hello.
I was expecting more than that. And the absolutely fabulous Sarah Cox. Put your hands together for them in the room.
Hey, hello everyone.
Hello.
We're back.
We are back streaming live on your podcast delivery platform, whichever platform it is, all around the world. Remember, you should like, share, and comment on any of the comments. Sorry, like, share on any of the comments. Like, share, and comment.
You're tripping over your words, Vish.
Yeah, I should be. I'm tripping over them. I'm so excited about getting to the stuff what we're going to talk about today.
Oh, I'm excited about today.
Yeah, like, share, and comment, and let us know what you guys want to hear about. But today's episode is one of my favorite topics, actually.
Oh, and one of mine.
Is right, and it's how to build a personal brand online. Ooh, drum roll. I should have asked for the drum roll first. Okay, let's try that one again. So we're going to track back 10 seconds. Right. So today's episode is all about, drum roll please, ladies, how to build a personal brand online.
This is a topic that is so popular right now, but actually it's been something that unintentionally if you've been doing it right, you've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah.
And if you've been doing it wrong, you've been unintentionally doing it wrong.
Was it? I see where you're going with that, and that's gonna be a question I'm going to ask you later on. Like, are people unknowingly doing the right things, and then all of a sudden, oh my god, I'm a viral sensation and just blown up online?
I think right now what's happened is the word personal brand has been so used and overused that what people don't realize is actually it's been an important element of marketing for such a long time, and people have probably been doing it, but they didn't know it was a personal brand, and then when they realized it was a personal brand, they thought it was something new that they had to do.
Okay. So D, when it comes to personal branding, what does that mean to you?
So when I talk about personal brand and I think about the definition of it, and this is actually a really popular definition, but it is the impression and the judgment that people make on you as an individual, based on how you show up online, how you show up in your marketing, how you show up in person at an event, how you might show up on stage. It's the impression that people take away with them of you at any given time, and it's what people say about you when you are not in the room.
I'm not sure I want to hear that. Especially after some of the jokes I made about you in the podcast. Yeah. But no, that's really I like that last bit that you put in there. It's what people say about you when you're not in the room. So it's basically I don't want to use the word impression again.
But it's impression
it's impression, isn't it?
It's what they walk away with. What's their perspective that they walk away with? Yes,
perception and perspective of you, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Whilst you're not there. What does that mean to you, Sarah? Like,
yeah, it's a good question because I'm not a branding expert, so that's why I was particularly interested in Dee's take on it. But to me, I think you've got to think about your company brand and your personal brand, because they've got to be linked, obviously, but I think they are potentially different. Like, your branding for your business and your branding for you may not be the same. And when it comes to personal brand, I think it's like, how do I want to show up? Part of it is like, how do I want to dress? I think it comes down to like, what do I look like? But it's also about color.
Yes.
So you've got branding, like colors in your business brand is like, well, do you have colours in your personal brand?
Yeah.
So you can do, based on, other branding experts, because I'm no branding expert either. But I'm a personal brand expert, but not a branding expert. I think there's a difference between the two.
Big difference.
Because the personal branding side is, for me, it's all about how you as an individual is showing up. And I think that there can be colours in that, because I know a really good friend of ours, actually we all know her, she always wears orange in, I think now blue, because that's her, the kind of audience or whatever, and it matches her personal brand. I never got round to that. My business brand, the colours were very much around it was like a deep purple because of what it meant. It meant like loyalty. And so where it comes into play, where the connection is, and you're 100% right, Sarah, that they've got to be linked, is that your values and ethics are part of your personal brand. Your values, your integrity, whatever it is that you want to be known as, seen as, etc. That then cascades into your company brand, because your company brand is then, it's almost like not a repeat of you, but it's like an extension of you.
Yeah. Extension is the right word, right? And it's really funny you should say that. And well, it's not really funny because you're not laughing, but it's...
I am now.
Yeah, you are now. Funny that. But, the personal brand thing with colours and like it should be extension of your personality, right? And I think that's why... my hair is styled in a certain way. Like I've got the quiff, I love to wear loud coloured shirts.
Oh yes, your floral sensations.
My floral sensation shirts, because it gets people talking, right? And that's just like, that is actually a part of my personal brand. And I learned a really long time ago, actually, that that whole Dr. Seuss quote, why be somebody else when everybody else is taken. I can't remember what it was. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know which one it says. Why? Oh yeah, I can't remember what it is now.
Yeah, put you on the spot, haven't I?
Yeah,
so
you have.
Don't remember either.
I'm going to look it up.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sarah. Yes, so when everybody else is taken.
Be yourself because everyone else is taken.
Yeah, that's right. So I gave up trying to emulate or like personify the attributes of other people that I liked online or on stage and stuff like that, because I was like, actually, I'm me. There's nobody else like me. I'm going to do me. Because I'm comfortable with that, and the more comfortable I am, the better the content and the quality of delivery comes out when I'm talking or whatever, right? So yeah, personal brand also comes down to like what clothes you wear as well, right?
Yeah, and also your visibility. Yeah. So I tell you who's been amazing at building a personal brand, and I mentioned him in a previous podcast, is Rob Moore.
Yeah.
Now the reason I love his podcast is his personal brand is, first of all, I mean, he's a property expert, right? So when he built his business, he was focused on his business. Now, his personality still would come through because he used to speak at a lot of our events, etc. He was always in a stripy shirt. So there was things about him, but, he'd always have a bit of, he was controversial on stage at times, but that was his personal brand, but he didn't really work on his personal brand. That was just him and how he showed up on stage. But then, as his business became a success, he then focused on building a personal brand. And his personal brand is that he's a disruptive entrepreneur.
Yes.
That's what his podcast is called. That's what, everybody knows him as. He's a disruptive entrepreneur because he disrupts the landscape.
Well, that's interesting then, because Rob's used a title as his personal brand. So I think your personal brand can be many faceted, can't it?
But the title has come out from him as a personality.
Yes, and then that's what he's become known as.
Yeah.
It's a bit like you were talking to me about being the LinkedIn queen, for example. You're not necessarily going to put that onto your profile because that's not what people search for, but you are becoming known and have been known as the LinkedIn queen.
Yeah. You got a name as well, haven't you?
I'm sometimes called the marketing automation queen.
There you go.
There you go.
What about you, Vish?
I'm definitely not known as a queen.
Are you known as a king?
Yeah. I don't know if king is the right word.
Prince.
But, Crown Prince, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I don't know.
You got James Burt. He's the podcast king.
King, yeah. And his stuff's awesome, right? Because he's renowned for it. But yeah, like obviously I'm known for funnels. I'm known for like good quality, good looking funnels. And I think that like peeling back the layers, that's like an extension of my personality. Like I'm fun. I like, if I'm not having fun, I'm working. And so that's why I try and make things like, I have a very specific brand of comedy, as you know, like my dad jokes and stuff like that. But I try and have that come out of my personality, especially when I'm putting content out there and I'm talking to people, because I want them to know me for that. I want to be memorable enough for them to go, actually, you know what? It may have been a shit joke, but he's a good guy.
You've just used the word as well, memorable.
Memorable, yeah.
So let's think about big personal brands, right? So if I was to say Richard Branson, what comes up for you first?
Virgin.
I think Virgin.
Yeah.
That's a company brand, but what comes up of you as a personality? Like for me, I have somebody who is fun. He's a risk taker. He loves activity. He's an adventurer.
Yes.
So therefore, when I think about that, I go, I want to be part of the Virgin Group.
Yes.
Because I know that they're always going to think 2 steps ahead.
Yeah.
So they were the first, or certain that I know of, that they came up with fiber optic Wi-Fi in this country before, let's say, Sky did.
Yeah.
right?
Broadband, but yes.
Yeah, oh, that's what I mean. Sorry, fibre optic broadband. What did I say?
You Luddite. Fibre optic Wi-Fi.
Is that what I said? Fibre optic broadband.
It's all good.
Yeah, so for me, it's like somebody, Richard Branson is somebody who is adventurer. He's always thinking ahead. He's going to build, the Galactica, so people can fly into space.
The Battlestar Galactica.
All of that wasn't Battlestar, but it's Virgin Star. So he's, and what's really interesting is his company following, which we all obviously relate to him, is Virgin, has, and don't take these numbers as gospel, but let's say, for example, his company page on LinkedIn will have 500,000 followers, but he himself as a personal brand will have over 5 million followers.
Yeah. Right? Well, which comes first, though? This is an interesting question. It's like chicken and egg, isn't it? Do you grow your personal brand first, or do you grow your company brand first? I would assume it's your company first.
Yeah, I mean, in this day and age,
I disagree.
Yeah. Really?
It's your personal brand.
Yeah,
but if you're not known, like if you're an unknown, you're not famous yet. Like you're starting your business, you're not famous. You're growing your company first, aren't you? Yeah. But your company is you. Generally speaking, when you start, you're just a one-man band or one-woman band.
Yeah. So for me, you don't have to have, your company doesn't have to be called Danita Patney.
No.
Your company can be called something, so you still got that identity out there. But in order for people, and this happened in my recruitment days. So I worked for a particular company. They had a much bigger infrastructure. They had more ways of getting more candidates in, more clients in, so much bigger for when we are looking to get new clients in. They want to work with people that they know can deliver. But the relationship that was being built between every single client was with the recruiter themselves. So then when I moved from one company to another, I couldn't reach out to any of those clients because of non-compete clauses and the like, but they followed me to the point that when I then started my own recruitment business, I had the likes of big organizations like L'Oreal, for example, who were happy to work with me, Allen & Overy, a big law firm, even though I was a one-man band and had no infrastructure.
Because they knew you.
Because they knew me. So, and there's some statistics that when you increase your personal brand, your the attention, the potential kind of cascading relation and the revenue of your business can almost build by 90%. Where if you did it the other way around and started it with your company brand, it would be 30%.
Wow. One of the things I'm sure I heard once was like, for example, when we were talking about your company name, I have heard of people who give their company name nothing that's related to their name, but then as they become better known, then they may put something in their name. Because to begin with, no one's going to be searching for their name because they don't know them. But once they become well known, then they will be searching for them by name.
Yeah, so 100%.
Yeah.
And also, I think it goes to things like, if you want to exit your company rather than have, I don't know, Jamie Oliver's restaurant. Kitchen or whatever.
But, yeah.
So if he exits his business and it's still called Jamie Oliver, I suppose, what do you do then?
Yeah,
because they've still got his name in the title.
But it's still be known as Jamie Oliver's Restaurants because he's put the equity into the brand, essentially, into the business brand.
Yeah, but whoever's taking over, I mean, obviously they can, but let's say it was Gordon Ramsay taking over a Jamie Oliver restaurant. Yeah. Then you've got an issue there, haven't you?
Yeah.
If it was called Jamie Oliver, because now there's no point in working on the goodwill of Jamie Oliver because they're kind of peers.
Yeah.
But he has to now build that restaurant up as being a Gordon Ramsay restaurant.
And
it could happen with lower people. Like, for example, if I was a one-man restaurant owner, I wouldn't change the name of Jamie Oliver's company because I want to tap into that goodwill.
Yeah. But then going back to your original point, like which one do you
focus on?
Yeah. I think in this day and age, like if we go out with a company brand first, I feel it almost becomes very salesy, like very transactional. Like, here's my company, this is what we do, come and join us. Whereas if we're following the whole kind of Gary V jab, right, where you're going to create value for people first, I think your personal brand needs to come out first. Like, you need to be able to create value, inspire, motivate, and deliver, deliver things that people can use, value-based nuggets that people can use to create like change in their life. And then they go, right, we associate this person with this. Oh, look, they've got a business brand as well. They're launching a business. Let's go and support them, you know.
And also, like, if you think about it, and I'll go back to the Rob Moore scenario, like when he didn't have a big personal brand, because of his visibility, like people didn't necessarily remember Progressive. They remembered Rob Moore of Progressive, or his business partner, Mark, I think, can't remember what his surname is, but they would remember the individual of that brand.
Yeah.
But if they change their brand to, I don't know, something else, you know, if they change their company brand to a different name, it would still be, oh yeah, Rob Moore of this company.
Yeah. I mean, Gary Vee did that, right? So Gary Vee's personal brand was freaking massive. And, you know, a total anomaly, because he's so consistent with putting content out there. But then after he did that, he then started VaynerMedia, and that was his business brand. And now his business brand is almost as big as his personal brand, because he's associated with other bigger brands that are out there. You know, not just working with local businesses or smaller businesses. He works with brands. He specializes in that.
And I think the same with you, Sarah. Like, people don't remember the LinkedIn Lab as my company name. They don't even remember half the time like what my company is. What they just remember is, oh yeah, I know a good LinkedIn trainer, Danita.
Well, it's interesting because I put my name in my business, so I've got Sarah Cox Marketing. So I decided to put my name in my business name, and I know like that's a choice, you know, because I remember at the time thinking,
it's not a wrong choice.
No. It's like I was like, what do I call my company? I mean, you have to come up with something, and I was like, well, do I put my name in or do I not?
Yeah.
And I can't remember the reasoning now, but I think it was some advice I was given was to put my name in my business. But I am a one-person business right now, so I think that makes a difference as well. But I'm not always going to be a one-person business.
But even if you are a one-person business, which I am as well, people still want to work with you.
Us, yeah.
So it is Sarah Cox, the personal brand of Sarah Cox Marketing, the company brand. And I think that's the thing that people need to get their head around, is the fact that, it's really interesting because I'll bring it back to LinkedIn, but, you know, I have 15,000 followers on LinkedIn on my personal profile, but I have about 400 followers on my company profile.
Yeah.
Because I don't do much with my company profile. I do everything from my personal profile. That's not to say I don't do a little bit, but on the company side. And now, like, I don't have a website up because we talked about this previous episodes, like I'm going through rebranding, so I don't have a website. I have funnels and landing pages, which I build up as and when I need them. Because I can actually send everyone to my personal profile for them to understand what I do, what my business is. The LinkedIn Lab is still in my, you know, you talk about logos and colours and all that kind of stuff. So it's still in my content. So the LinkedIn Lab is out there. It's just not.
Yeah.
Well, the interesting thing with that, though, isn't it, is that's social media, and social media is obviously very social.
Yeah.
So on social media, we're looked for as us as individials.
Yeah.
People aren't really going to necessarily look up our businesses on social media. They're going to look for us.
Yeah. And I think, you know, people are desensitized towards business advertising online right now. You know, if you see a brand name in the top left-hand corner and you see a sponsored advert, you're like, this is shit. People are targeting me. I think that sensitivity has now gone down, where people are like, they'll click off. Whereas if they see a person talking direct to camera, or there's an image with a person in there and it's a non-brand name and it's a personal name and it's like a personal brand name, I think they're more open to the idea of exploring what that sponsored content would be. So I think personal brand is more important than business brand in this day and age.
I think when you get big, like Marks and Spencer, like, I have no idea who created Marks and Spencer. So,
Mr. Mark and Mr. Spencer.
Mr. Mark and Mr. Spencer. I mean, I know that it started off as a market store, but that's all I know. So I only know the brand story for that.
Yeah.
So I guess there is that argument that when you get to, you know, I don't know who created W.H. Smith, you know, but you know that's a brand. And it's a brand that, and it becomes a trusted brand that you go to for whatever things, right? Like John Lewis is the same.
Yeah.
But I think for people who are in business like us,
Entrepreneurs,
even businesses that are maybe like, you know, anywhere between 10 and 50 people, or 10 and 100 people even, you know, the CEO or the founder or the person in that top chair, or certainly people within the organization, need to think about how to build a personal brand.
Yeah.
So, for example, if you are the CEO of a 500 to 1,500 person company, you should be teaching or training your staff how to be the extension of your company brand, which is your personal brand, especially if you're in a sales-led job or a client services job, that you've got to put your personal brand out there. And I think that's one of the advantages I had with every recruitment company I worked for, was they allowed me to be myself and put myself out there on social media so that I would then attract clients to the company that I worked for. That was when I was an employee. But I think the important thing here is, and I think this is where the discussion may come in, is that when you are an employee working for a company, then do your brand values, your personal brand values, are they aligned with the company brand values? Because mine were, I was able to still be authentically me when I was putting myself out there on LinkedIn, even though I was working for a company. So I think as an entrepreneur and a business owner, that's why it's important for our clients that their personal brand will then also be an extension of that company brand's ethics, values, and how they want to work with clients. And we've talked about, getting the marketing message right in the past episodes, your avatar, all of those things. But this is important because your personal brand, which is your values, your morals, your approach, how you show up, it's going to then show up in your marketing message, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's going to then show up in the way that you come across on stage, or how you come across on a live, or whatever it is, whatever content you're creating, the copy that you write for your funnel, it's going to show up in your bios. It's going to show up, and that will determine whether somebody wants to work with you or not.
Yeah, absolutely. Personal brand. I think a lot of personal brand is also voice-led stuff as well. Like, what is your voice as a personal brand? And I think one of the biggest things that that companies overlook is personal brand when it comes to designing assets online for marketing. Like when we look at like marketing assets, that people have a branding guide, but more often than not in the branding guide, voice, tonality, verbiage, language is missed out. What they do show is colors, logos, type forms, like in terms of like the typeset they're using,
the fonts,
and all that sort of stuff, right?
And that's not what your personal brand is.
No, it's not. Like, that's how to design an image or an asset in the correct physical brand of your business. But actually, your personal brand would probably be more valuable to discuss that when it comes to marketing collateral, because then it is voice, it is language, it is tonality, it is how you speak to your customers, the words you use, which are important because it goes back to customer avatar. So it's weird how this all ties in, isn't it?
Well, that analogy, that very common marketing analogy about the iceberg.
Yes.
So if you think about the top part of the iceberg, which is a bit that you can see, that's your company brand, that's your logo, your colors, all of that kind of stuff. But the stuff underneath the sea is where you put the values, the ethics, the whatever it is that you stand for. What is it that you stand for? And why do you do what you do? I think we haven't touched upon that, have we? Like, what's your why? What's your purpose? What's your vision? Why are you doing the business that you are doing? That really, starts with your personal brand and then is connected to the company brand, because a company brand then people go, right, I want to work with Sarah Cox because I love everything about her, but also because everything that she stands for is in the service of her company. And so your company brand also then provides that same level of values and ethics. Whereas if you didn't have a personal brand, people wouldn't be sure whether your company brand delivers, and you wouldn't be able to attract the right people either.
True. Something I was just thinking about is also today, the way we promote ourselves is either on social media or on stage, generally speaking, or at networking events. So when you're doing stuff on social media, or you're speaking on stage, or you're mingling at networking events, people are meeting you. They're not meeting your business, they're meeting you. So actually the thing you're promoting first is yourself. And then through social media, etc., they come to know your business, because if they want to work with you, they've got to work with your business. So I just wonder also if maybe things are shifting, and that's why personal brand is becoming more important, because actually we've got to show up first to become known, to be seen, to be visible.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, 100%. And I think it's with the way that we've all been globalized. You know, everything's now accessible online. You know, we can go and recruit customers from Australia tomorrow if we wanted to, from India, from Russia, whatever. Right? We can go and get customers from there. So I think rather than it be because the playing field isn't level in business brand world, right? It's not. Company brands, there's way bigger brands out there than us, whether you look at agencies, whether you look at you've got a bottle of Dr. Pepper there, right? Coke, Pepsi, right? The massive brands, you can't compete. If we were to launch a fizzy black drink tomorrow, sugary drink, we'd have to compete with those brands. Like, it would be impossible for us to do that on a global scale. So that's why the story, the personal brand, the why becomes so important, because it helps us to then create that sub, genre, that niche within the bigger brands, so that people can align with us, because that's what people want, right? People are now like, actually, these big brands are the big brands, but they want different. They want to be different to the Joneses next door. So, well, also
when I worked in recruitment, that really brought home to me the fact that people didn't necessarily always choose the biggest company with the biggest budget, with the biggest name. They chose a company or a person to work with because there was trust and credibility. You still need all of that in a personal brand.
Trust and credibility. I love that, because with trust and credibility comes into, if you're personal branding, you're putting your content out, you're putting yourself on the firing line for people, right? You're gonna be, people are gonna take swipes at you. Happens, right? If you haven't got any haters, then are you actually standing up for anything, kind of thing, right? We've all heard that before, and people are going to take swipes at you, so you've got to have that authenticity to do that. But liking and trusting, I think, is a big part of it, because that's what people do now. People would rather work with you if they know, like, and trust you.
Yeah.
And the way to do that, to streamline it, so you don't have to physically meet all these people and get them to know, like, and trust you, is to get your shit out online.
Yeah.
Well, visibility is a lot to do with it.
So, I was going to say, with marketing, the whole point, a lot of the point in marketing is to get people to know, like, and trust you.
Yeah.
So basically, you've got to attract people, but once you've attracted them, you have to build that know, like, and trust. You build that relationship so they want to work with you.
Yeah.
It's also to do with, buying into you.
Yes.
Because when people buy into you, they will buy from you.
Yeah.
And so you've got to get that buy-in, and the way to get that buy-in is your personal brand has to, has to align with their brand values as well, or with what they're looking for. Because if they don't, then that's okay.
Yeah.
They're just not your customer, or you're not the right person for them.
Yeah. Well, they're not the right customer for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way I look at it, right?
Yeah.
Not whether or not. I mean, no.
Well, I think it works both ways. Like, I might think they're the perfect customer for me, but actually they might not think I'm the right person for them.
Yeah, and then we look at other things. But then, so personal branding, like, in my eyes, from everything that we just said here, is the pre-sale. It's the pre-sale, right? It's the building up of the rapport without having to talk to people, because your personal brand should do that. That's why you've got to be genuine, and I think you've got to be vulnerable to a certain degree as well, right? You've got to you have to put your unadulterated self out there without any filters,
and also unapologetic.
Yeah, man.
Yourself out there.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, like, you can't let something change the way you're going to, like, be online. Oh, because you won't stand up. Those who don't stand up for anything, kind of thing.
Yeah.
You've got to be you. That's what you've just got to be you, haven't you?
100%. Authenticity is the biggest thing for me, man. Personal brand, it has to be authentic. Because I firmly believe people won't work with me because I am a certain way, and I'm happy with that. I'd rather not work with those people, because they probably wouldn't get on with me. I definitely wouldn't get on with them if they don't get on with me, because I'm a pretty affable person. I get on with everyone. If someone doesn't like me, that means there's a 99.999% probability I'm not going to like them back. It was the truth, right? I've got to say how it is, right? I just got to say how it is, So yeah, I think personal brand is so important. But then,
look, there are 5 in my opinion, there are 5
Yeah.
key things, right?
Yeah.
5 key things when it comes to
Drew a blank.
why a personal. I thought I'd fill in the quiet. 5 key areas on why it's important to build a personal brand,
Go on.
right? So it's a bit of an acronym actually.
Okay.
So
So we'll be able to remember it quite
you'll be able to
easily.
remember it. Yeah.
Might want to write this down.
You might want to write this down. You might want to write the word brand down.
Oh, clever.
So the first letter, which is B,
Yep.
is, we just mentioned this a little while ago. So it builds trust and credibility. Like when you are out there, you are being, authentically you are showing your personal brand, you're showing your personality. And the more people see you, the more they know, like, and trust you, right?
Yeah.
Zig Ziglar says a lot about this as well, doesn't he?
He does.
The late Zig Ziglar, I should say. It builds, so it's important because it builds trust and credibility. And obviously with the online world, it builds that a lot quicker. The R stands for, it's an opportunity for you to be just real. Like
Real.
authentically you, unapologetically you, and come across as a real person, a real personality. So that's
like not trying to pretend to be something you're not.
Yeah.
You've just got to be the real you.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. So this is going to be funny because I've suddenly forgotten the A.
So it's not that memorable an acronym then, really, is it?
Oh, I love
Oh my God, I just did it the other day. I'm like, I've drawn a blank now, which is quite funny. But I do remember the N and the D though.
God,
Do that,
yeah,
and then
that's
we'll
the
come
end
back
of
to the
it.
A.
We'll
Back to the
circle back.
A. We'll come back
We'll
to the A.
circle back to it.
So the N is it allows you to grow your network, because when you grow your network, you grow your net worth, right?
Yeah.
So it allows you to like literally come out there and do that. And then the other reason it's really, really important is it distinguishes you as a thought leader. I remember the A now.
Oh, have you? Well done.
So
Don't forget it.
Yeah, it distinguishes you as the thought leader.
Yep.
And as somebody who has their, finger on the pulse,
Yeah.
you are then seen as a person to follow because you are a thought leader in your particular industry.
Love that.
And the I is it gives you competitive advantage.
Yeah.
So it is all about, if you want to stand out from your competitors, you will stand out because of your personal brand. Because, I remember the example that I gave about this not too long ago was, again, I go back to my recruitment days. And this is stuff I was doing unknowingly, because I didn't know anything about personal brand in those days. But I worked for a media recruitment company in central London. And, the reasons we would give our clients of why they should choose us were X, Y, and Z. But it was no different, really, to another really good media company, because there were a few. We weren't always the best out there. But there was another one out there that was also doing those same 3 things that we tried to put our USP on.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a USP. But the actual USP was me.
Yeah.
So, they could go to 2 very similar media recruitment companies who are doing the same thing. Their ethos is the same. Their processes are exactly the same. Their advantages from a point of, software and, number of people and all of those things were exactly the same. But what differentiated them? What gave, someone, either recruiter, an advantage? And it was the individual.
Of course it is.
So that's the other reason for building a personal brand. So there you go. B for builds trust and credibility.
There you go.
R for being real and authentic. A for having an advantage over your competition.
Yep.
N for building your network, which then builds your net worth. And then D distinguishes you as a thought leader.
Absolutely.
Glad I remembered
Got
the
there
rest.
in the end.
I know.
Yeah. Well, I was just thinking about marketing, actually.
Yeah.
And I'm going to forget my train of thought now. Oh, I've remembered what it is. You can have the absolute best product or service in the world, but if no one knows about it, you're never going to make that much money. You're not going to do very well. So marketing is all about getting yourself known.
Yeah.
Conversely, you can have a not very good product or service, but if you're excellent at marketing, everyone's going to know about it.
Exactly.
So in an ideal world, you have the best product and service and you have the best marketing.
Yeah.
But if you had to choose between 2, you're better off choosing the marketing.
Yeah.
Because the marketing is what gets you known by other people.
Absolutely. And then, you can even look around like your own local area, your own local exposure to brands and to other personal brands out there. There are people out there, maybe they're doing the same thing you're doing right now. And they're, in your own view, your own regard, because I can't take a stance on this because I don't know who these people are. But there are other people out there, your competitors, they're doing pretty much the same thing you're doing, and they're not doing it as well as you do. They don't have the same integrity, whatever you want to, like, however you want to class it. But they may or may not be getting more work than you. Why? Because their marketing's on point, right? And so that's just, it's really important to understand that you concentrate on your personal brand to the level where you're drawing people in. They understand your why, you're authentic, you're building, like and trust with people, and you're unapologetically you. But then also, I mean, that segues into like imposter syndrome as well. You can do all of that stuff, but then you can still kind of sit there at the end of the day sometimes when it doesn't work out because you've done 3 pieces of content and you haven't had 1,000 people knock on your door, right? Let's just make a obvious joke out of it, right? But imposter syndrome kicks in. Like, what is it? Like, maybe I'm not that person. How do you deal with that?
I think it's, and this is what I say with my clients all the time, that first of all, what we see online isn't always a true perception of what's going on. So although somebody's personal brand might be amazing, like Sarah just said, like they might not be they might be attracting people, but then because their product isn't amazing, it's falling on its head, right? The other thing about comparison, which is where imposter syndrome comes from, is you can't compare your step 1, 2, 3 to somebody's step 9, 10, 11.
Yeah.
And also there's so many variables which we've spoken about and we'll continue to speak about on this podcast. There's so many variables, isn't there? Like your audience might be different, their audience might be different, which is why their audience might be more niche, which means that they're getting more of that particular pie of that particular, or slice up of that particular pie.
Yeah.
But that, if you continue to compare yourself, then you haven't got that faith in your own brand, your own values, so you've just got to make sure that you do things consistently, don't give up easily, do things consistently, get the right experts in to help you, get yourself out there. There's all of those elements. But yeah, I think imposter syndrome, and I get it. I still get it sometimes. It's true,
I think everybody does, don't they? Like, at
Yeah,
some point or other.
Yeah.
It's part of growing up.
Yeah, man. We had this conversation in the break, didn't we?
Yeah.
And I was like, at least once a month, man, I had this big wobble. I'm like, shit, am I like really, am I doing this? Am I not doing this? Am I getting a job? What am I doing?
You just got to use it as inspiration to
absolutely.
go, right, if that person is really doing the numbers that they say, or they really look like they're doing better than you, use it as inspiration. Okay, what can I alter? What can I test? Like you were saying, Sarah, about, maybe this bit of marketing of mine isn't working. Let me get an expert in to look at it. Let me test something else out.
Yeah.
What can I change if I need to?
Yeah.
Only if I need to. Or be inspirational in that, they're doing amazingly well. I can't wait to get there as well.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
focus on yourself, because you can only compare yourself to your last deal, to your last bit of marketing. You can only improve on the stuff that you're doing.
Something I heard recently was about being vulnerable with your audience as well. So you might have a tendency to just portray all the good and come across like everything's perfect and that it's all happens seamlessly. Whereas the reality is not like that. It's like a roller coaster. It's up, down, and go around in circles, etc. So something, I heard was about like, it's actually part of your personal brand is also being vulnerable and sharing the journey of how you got from A to B. Yeah, you share everything so that people see, they can relate to you more because they see it isn't all plain sailing and you're just like them. You've been through a similar journey. So I think that's part of personal brand as well. It's also like your story, isn't it? About, what's happened and what's made you the way you are and what's going well for you in business, what isn't going well for you in business, because people like to hear that. They like to hear the realness.
Real
You said
stuff.
about the real stuff and the authentic stuff. People like to hear that, don't they? They like to know what's going on.
Makes us more human, doesn't it? Because it's like, oh, actually, they've been through the same struggles, or they're not just pretending it's all like glorified and amazing. And, yes, they've got the... Yeah. It's the stuff that a lot of people don't tell us. I'd rather make, like, for example, in this podcast, I'm sure there will be times when we've already alluded to it. Like, I want us to be, for our listeners, I want them to hear the things that others don't tell them.
Do you know, that reminds, I was talking to someone literally at the event we were at the last couple of days, and they got to a certain point in their business where they were getting to like 5K months, and they thought, right, I've made it, I've achieved that now. but it actually went backwards. So they got to those 5K months and then it went backwards, and they thought there was something wrong with them. They didn't actually realise that was normal. And this person said to me, I wish someone had said to me that that's what happens and that's what's normal, because she actually struggled with it. But whereas if she'd have known that was part of the journey, she'd have gone, oh, okay, I'm just going through this part of the journey.
Plowed through, right? Yeah. But I mean, I forgot. I was actually on the back of what you were gonna, what you said. I've forgotten the point I was gonna make.
What was the thing I said?
Sorry.
What was the thing I said?
I don't remember now. But that's really taken me back. Like I wish. Like going straight into it, showing vulnerability. Like okay, that's it, vulnerability. But I'll come to that in a second. Like I wish someone had said that to me. You know, like having those. Oh, I've had some great months. I've had some freaking fantastic months, but I've also had some really dark months, right? And they don't just come in ones; they come in more than threes, right? They sometimes are like, dude, am I really doing the right thing here? Like, how am I going to pay these guys? Like all these stuff's going out. What are we going to do? Right. And then that pot you've built up starts to dwindle and you're like, okay, this is like, real. If I'd known that like early doors, if I'd known that was part of the process, man, I would have stuck at it longer, could have grown more aggressively. Right. But obviously, it is what it is. You live and learn. But going back to what your point is, which I've forgotten again, right?
It was about the being real, the vulnerability.
Like I when I started sharing my fuck ups online, like, oh my God, people are like, wow, that's awesome. And I think it's not just having experienced the same problem as them. I think humanity plays a big part in that. When you show and you bear all to everyone, and you go, everything is out on the plate. Like, I'm not hiding anything from you guys, right? This is as real as it gets. People are like, oh my God, like they relate to you because they're like, it may not be the same problem, but you're going through some shit as well. And do you know what? Feel for you, but well done because you managed to overcome it, or you didn't, or you learned a lesson from it, like whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like I believe in doing that. Like I'm the same with my kids. Like I tell them about everything. Like my like I pick them up from school. My daughter's like, Dad, how's your day? Like, today's been a tough day, babe. She's like, what was tough about it? Because I asked them the same questions. What was tough? What was good? What was enjoyable? Tell me the best thing, something you can improve on, et cetera, et cetera. And she does the same process with me. What was good, Dad? What was hard? Why was it hard? What did you learn from today? What do you think you can do better tomorrow? I'm like, wow. Like,
wow, you've instilled that in your kids.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
Is she really my child? She's so intelligent and smart. She gets that from her mother. Yeah.
It's the stuff that Vish has forgot to do himself now.
Yeah, right. I can milk myself, but no, it's important to put that out there. Like, it's good to be vulnerable. Like we share it. Like it's something actually interesting. God bless her. This is what my mum said to me. Right. No matter if you can stand with somebody in their moment of happiness, if you stand with them in their moment of sadness and of vulnerability, they'll always remember you. And that happened during some retesting times of like my friends' lives where, I was there. Like I was there for them, sharing that vulnerability with them. And, it did amazing things for the relationship that I was still got with them.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we need to do with people. If people can stand with you or relate to you when you're in your moment of like weakness and at the bottom, and they realize that actually you go through the same shit they go through in a different scale or a different situation, it just proves your humanness to them. I think for a personal brand, that's really important because we're quick to show the watches, the cars, the houses, the trips and whatever. Like 90% of that shit online is fake, right?
Well, that's the thing, and people aren't that impressed by it, are they? Anyway, they feel like you're just showing off.
Yeah, like I'll hire a car to do a photo shoot. Was it Tayo Cruz? Was it Tayo Cruz that did it with a Lamborghini? I don't know. Like maybe that's like what you call it, hearsay. But
yeah, I mean, I've seen it on
that shit.
Yeah, I've seen it on LinkedIn, and I always say like, that photograph where you're standing in front of a yacht. Yeah, like stop it.
Yeah, I don't even like yachts. I hate the ocean. Like, I get seasick. Why would I do that shit? I don't like Lamborghini. My friends are like, would you buy a Lamborghini? Like, if you could afford it, would you buy it? I'm like, no. Like, why not? Because I don't vibe with the brand. I hate Lamborghinis. Yeah. Like, I don't. But
again, that comes down to your personal brand, right?
Of course it does, right? It's not me.
And it actually, and it comes down to the company brand as well, because it again shows how people will, even if for the bigger brands, you as a personality will gravitate towards a particular company brand because of the ethics and values of that brand.
Yeah, man.
But those ethics and values have come down from the personal brand of the individual who set that company up.
Yeah, even though Lamborghini is a great brand, right? Because it is a great brand because it was was a big fuck you to Enzo Ferrari because Lamborghini built tractors, which is why they got the bull on the front, right?
Yeah.
And it was a big. I vibe with that. I can absolutely get behind that story, that brand story. But for me, a Lambo doesn't mean anything. Like, and because I see it all the time, and people hiring cars for shoots and whatever. It's like, that's not your personal brand.
Yeah.
Don't lie to the person because you're selling them something that you're not yourself because you're buying into their fears.
Well, it's untrue.
Yeah,
I think that's what it is. It's untrue.
authentic.
Like if you don't own that Lamborghini, then I mean, if you owned it, it'd be different, wouldn't it? Like you can have a picture with it because that is part of your personal brand. Is that you're a Lamborghini driver?
But absolutely, and I agree with that. But they're also sensationalizing it in a certain way to say you can have this car or you can have this lifestyle if you buy my product. And I think that's really disingenuous towards your clients, and that sort of personal brand won't stand the test of time.
I think there's also an element of people realizing that there is no quick rich scheme. And I think that if that individual, and this is where I might be a bit challenging, but if that individual has honestly got the Lamborghini and made the money because of the strategy, then good on them.
Yeah, man.
Because where it goes wrong is if they're telling people that they can get that life within a few months of them doing a few steps.
Yes.
As long if they were honest and said, look, I've built this business. This is a strategy I did to make money, and it allowed me to buy the Lamborghini. And the same can happen for you. But it's got to take hard work. It's got to, these are the mistakes that that I made.
Yeah.
These are, it's not going to happen overnight. If they tell that story, then it's an okay story to tell.
Yeah.
Whereas,
But where you're talking about the fake it. Like,
or the whole you do this and buy my 12-week course in 12 weeks you become a millionaire.
Yeah.
Because I will, the rags to riches.
They caveat that shit. These results are not typical. They're not typical for all my clients. Everyone's different. Like people can caveat that shit till the cows come home. But
they should caveat it, shouldn't
they?
They
do. They have it on the bottom. Yeah. Most of them have it on the bottom. My results are not typical. They're typical for my clients, etc. It all depends on you, your work ethic, etc. All that that whole standard disclaimer people put in there right now. But I just don't. I don't. I'm not like that. I can't vibe with people that are on that level because it's like, no, man,
because they're not your people.
And
that's where the personal brand comes in, right? Man. There'll be people who are doing it the wrong way, which we've talked about, where they say you can earn that in 12 weeks when you can't. It's a bit like the get 5 leads in 5 days. Yeah. Yes, you can. That might still work.
It might happen.
There's so many variables, right? So there's that personal brand where you're like, actually, it's okay because Vish isn't my ideal customer. Yeah. So therefore, this will work with X.
Yeah.
And then there's a personal brand where they outright lie.
Yeah.
Where they, create a story that actually isn't true.
Yeah.
And I think there's a distinct difference between the two.
Yeah, man.
And it's making sure that even if your personal brand does represent Lamborghinis and Porsches and yachts and all that kind of stuff, that you're still being real about the journey it took for you to get there.
Yeah, 100%.
That makes sense.
You've got to tell them what trials and tribulations lie ahead of them on the quest to glory,
And they still won't be your ideal person, Vish, for example, because that's just not your vibe, like you said. And that's the key thing about building a personal brand, that you attract the people who are right for you.
Yeah.
And you repel the people who aren't.
Yeah, 100%. And you know what?
It's a disqualification process, isn't it?
I think I'm like this, and this is again, because I have bought courses. I have bought those courses of people. In my early days, I bought courses. Hey, buy this course and you can achieve this. You can be doing whatever. I'm not going to go into the industry because then it's like a dead giveaway, right? Yeah. But that doesn't work. I bought businesses. I bought my just check out my backstory. I'm not going to give names for that, but I bought businesses. They're like, you put X in and you get Y out. That never happened, and that's why I'm not I will not lie to my customers. I'd rather lose a customer than have to lie to them to get them on board.
Yeah. People want the truth though, don't they? They want to know what it takes to get there.
Yeah, but the thing is, people sell to the fear, right?
They do.
They fearmonger. They sell to the aspirational side of what what people want to achieve. I think there's a place for that, and that's all good. It is what it is. But yeah, man, your personal brand should be a lot stronger. If you want a personal brand to last for more than like 5 to 10 years, then you've got to go in with authenticity as your cornerstone. Like, just be you. Like, I am me. I've got, I haven't dyed my hair. My hair's gone white in the last couple of years, man. It's a stressful life, right? That's what happens when you have kids, right? I love them, but I'm also very open and transparent about it. Like, I run my own business. I want to make money. Right? That's the bottom line. But I run my business because I don't want to work in corporate anymore. I don't want to do that. I want to work in this business so I can have a lifestyle around my children. That's it, because that's what I do, and that's how I want to serve people. And I normally attract people that are also of that vibe, because my personal brand is around that. Yeah, it is. It speaks
again,
to
like
people.
Your personal brand is, and again, and then this is where I think it can get a mixed message. Is like your personal brand is that you are a family man, that you are doing that because you want to give the best to your family. And those are the reasons that you care. Those are all the reasons why your customers will come to you.
Yeah.
My personal brand, is very much around helping people get visible, because I know myself how hard it was for me to get over the perfection disease and get out there. And I just want to give that, somebody asked me not too long ago, what's the impact you want to have? And the ripple effect. I want to have a ripple effect. The impact I want to have is to help more people get visible and show their genius, because that causes a ripple effect, because then they will be able to help more of their clients do the same thing, and then it'll cause a ripple effect. And I just want to help more people get out there and get visible, albeit on LinkedIn, because that's my niche, but that's what I want to do. And,
it's a bit like me. I want entrepreneurs to be successful. I want to show people that you can leave a corporate job. Like we all have, haven't we, left corporate jobs and then become entrepreneurs, and to show that is possible and you can have the life that you want to have. Yeah. And I also believe that if I'm growing and learning and serving as a result of that, then I'm passing the things that I'm learning onto my clients to enable them to grow their businesses. So I kind of say that I grow and learn so that I can help other people grow and learn.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely, man.
I think in conclusion on this episode of Personal Brand, because I reckon this is something that will come up in future episodes at some level.
100%.
I think it is, I think with your personal brand, you've got to start off with, first of all, why you do what you do. Why you do what you do and what you stand for. And then you'll be able to fill in all the different pieces of your personal brand.
Yeah. I think personal brand is important. Wear loud colours and be authentic.
Wear floral shirts.
Wear floral shirts and have a Johnny Bravo hairstyle. Johnny Bravo is a cartoon, by the way, guys. Yeah, didn't expect you to know about it. It is what it is.
And again, I think we've talked about evolution before. I think it's something that probably evolves as well.
Yeah.
As you get more confident and more certain 100%. In your business, and you think about, how do I want to stand out? How do I want to be different to everybody else? What do I want to be remembered for?
Yeah.
What do I want to be known for?
Yeah, man.
You work it out as time goes on.
I'm with you on that 100%, my love. Great episode so far, guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and let us know what personal brand means to you.
Yeah, what does a personal brand mean to you? Is it just about the florally shirts? Is it about anything else? Is it about authenticity or not being authentic? What does it mean? Is it about Lambos? Is it about fast cars? Is it about big yachts? Whatever that case may be, but been a great episode. If you have liked it so far, and I'm sure that you have, like, share, and subscribe. Let your friends know. Tell them to tell their friends as well. This is the Ultimate Marketing Podcast with myself, Vish. We have got the lovely Dee.
Ta-ra for now.
Ta-ra for now, and we got the absolutely fabulous Sarah.
Speak to you soon.
See you on the next episode.